Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot made about if Donald Trump has a mandate or not. Well, some of the numbers that we're seeing when it comes to his potential honeymoon period here for his second term are very, very impressive and totally different from what we saw when Trump came in January of 2017 for his first term. So take a look at this. CBS News poll: do you approve or disapprove of Donald Trump and the way he's handling the presidential transition? And you've got a plus 18% in terms of approval, the approval at 59, the disapproval at 41, and pretty much across the board, Donald Trump is approved, even by women when it comes to the transition, plus 4% for females, plus 32% for males. Obviously, liberals are not going to approve, but still 22% approve. Obviously, GOP 95% approval, and then the all-important independents sitting plus 12 in terms of Trump's approval rating. This is not technically his approval rating, because this is more so a question about what do you think about the transition, but it's basically the same thing. I mean, if you don't like Donald Trump, you're not going to approve of it. If you do like Donald Trump, you will approve of it. And it seems like the overall takeaway from this is people have a bigger open mind when it comes to Donald Trump as president than they did his first term. And I think it's a number of different things. I do think a lot of these moderate people, these independent people, they were fed many lies. There were a lot of liberals out there, and it always blew my mind because, I'd always say, you look at how horrible of a candidate Kamala Harris is, just a total botched job by the Democrats. It was like the most obvious thing ever. Biden goes out there. Remember, he's the guy that they said was so amazing and he was perfectly fine and he had no problems. He can't talk, and then they self-combust and say, no, we got to get rid of him. And then they're forced to put Kamala Harris in because Biden endorses Kamala when really they wanted an open convention. And I was like, there's no way people actually think this is, Kamala Harris is a good candidate, that she's going to win. But they were all saying, oh, Trump is Hitler. There's no way. Think about January 6th. Why would anyone vote for him? And then basically what you get is you get half of the liberals look and actually reflect on the election loss, and especially with how bad it is, that's caused more of them to do it. Now, see, if they would have won the popular vote, they could have coped and said, well, we just need to go to a popular vote. Most people don't like Donald Trump. This is that kind of an issue. But I think the fact that they lost so badly in terms of losing the popular vote and then also all the swing states, and also you take a look at some of the margins in like Florida and Texas, it's crazy. Many of them are reflecting and saying, okay, there's things within the Democratic Party that are wrong, but then you're also going to get the people that automatically blame the voters. It's misinformation, it's disinformation, all the voters are stupid, the common things, which of course anyone could do. I mean, back in 2020, why didn't we just blame disinformation when they silenced the Hunter Biden laptop story? It's just the stupidest thing ever to blame disinformation for an election loss. It's ridiculous, but that's what they'll do. But I think more and more of these independent people are looking and saying, look at what you guys said the past 5 or 6 months. Everything you predicted didn't happen. You were wrong on everything. All these liberals, these people that say, oh, they know everything, they were all horribly wrong. And again, some of them are going to look in and reflect and say we need to do things differently. But then you also get the people that lash out. And so many of these people that hate Trump, they've been totally discredited. MSNBC, they're totally discredited. Their ratings are the lowest ever. CNN, they're discredited. And so I think that's given more of an opening for moderate people to say, hey, let's give Trump a chance here. He won very easily. It seems like the country, people want to go in a different direction. We know about all the gaslighting with the economy and everything that went into that and how it ended up. The final liberal argument was, oh, it was really Trump that caused the inflation. And because it lags, the economy lags, Biden was getting it better and fixing what Trump has caused, let alone, never mind the fact that we were in the middle of a once in a century pandemic when Trump left and it tanked all of his economic numbers. Let's forget about that. Also, let's forget about the unemployment benefits that Biden continued that really tanked inflation because it incentivized people to stay home, and then it forced wages up because nobody wanted to work because they were all getting unemployment benefits. They don't see that. Don't talk about that. No, it's fine. We won't talk about that. It's all Trump's fault. But see, that's the thing. That's the disconnect with liberals, to where they're like, the economy's great. And then you've got people saying, no, it's in a horrible spot right now. It's because of the 20% inflation. And they say, no, it's 2%. No. Throughout Biden's entire term, it was 20% inflation. Actually, probably more, especially with food. It was like 25 to 30%. But then they say, well, it's 2%. Yeah, that's based off of a year ago. It's 2%. But if you look at his entire term, it's around 20%. And so this is certainly very good news for Trump. It's something we're not used to. Trump potentially being above water in terms of approval rating. You can see this is 538. they've got Trump right now sitting +6 in terms of unfavorable rating, but that's, I mean, that's an all-time high for him since he left office. This is since he left office, since it's been tracked, and I'm sure when he gets back into office, you can see the recent two. This is YouGov. This is not even the same thing that I was talking about. This is just a CBS News poll. Even YouGov has Trump the last two times, or I guess I don't know why there are two different polls there, but one of them is +5, the other one's +1. Even Echelon has it even. Even these other ones that have unfavorable +6, +7, this is way better than it was back, you know, in 2020, 2021, especially when he left office after January 6th. So it certainly is a stark difference when it comes to Trump's approval rating, and that should give him more power when it comes to the things that he wants to do within his government and the influence and the governance of the people. If they approve him, it certainly does help. It's very important when it comes to that. We also do have this. I don't even know what this is. I saw this. This was a few days ago. Kamala Harris campaign sends email whining about little to no donations, warns about 4 years of chaos and confusion. What are they trying to donate for exactly? Then they got this little graph talking about, oh, look at how high we got in terms of the donations, and it's petered off. Well, yeah, you lost every swing state. That's kind of what happens. What are you fighting for exactly? I'm not even sure what this is. Oh, you're going to fight Trump? Well, then isn't that just a donation to the Democratic Party? I don't understand this. Harris Fight Fund. You know, she might actually try and launch another, maybe she'll run in 2026 or something. But it's just, I saw that and I was like, this is just weird. You just lost. What are you asking for money for? People already think they waste. I mean, any Democrat that donated money to the Harris campaign probably thinks they totally wasted. Well, I mean, some of them probably think, oh, you know, we had to do it. It was against Trump, but I'm sure there's probably some very angry people. I mean, they lost every swing state. Why are you asking for money after losing every swing state? It's just strange. And then just to update Biden, I think he set another all-time low. The Democrats losing the election, a lot of them they're in sour moods. They're not too happy. So you can see Biden sitting right now -18 or +18 in terms of disapproval. Approval rating is at 38%. Wasn't it around? Yeah, it was a little bit under 38. So this is not an all-time low for Biden, but this might have been right after the Afghanistan withdrawal when it spiked up here. But I mean, this is a remarkably bad approval rating, and this is worse than Trump. You know, 538 used to have the thing where you could compare it to Trump. I don't know what happened to that. they took it out because it turns out Trump was more likable during his term than Biden was, which is pretty. I mean, at this point, originally Biden had the approval. He had, you know, when you got like 90% of the mainstream media behind you, it's a lot easier to have a good approval rating because people can kind of massage different things that maybe aren't the greatest about your administration into the public and make it seem a little bit better rather than being big bad evil. But now I think it's going to be harder for them, the mainstream media, to manipulate the public into the idea that Trump's a horrible president. I mean, I'm sure Trump's going to do things that are not great, but I mean, we could even see right now with Trump's approval rating. Again, I think a lot of this is the fact that all of these pundits and the mainstream media said there's no way Trump can win. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Look at his actions on January 6th. And then he ends up winning. And they'd said that for months and months and months, and they're all completely discredited. So why would anyone in the general public care what any of them have to say if they're that wrong on that? It's like you've lost all your credibility. It just turns into echo chambers. We'll see. Maybe Elon Musk might buy MSNBC. I'd prefer he would buy CNN, honestly, but it is pretty remarkable because I can pretty much guarantee that this Biden's approval rating, and certainly if COVID would have never happened, Trump's approval rating would have been way better at the end of his first term, way better. Everyone's in a rotten mood with it. I think it was still like -8, -9 until, you know, he ends up losing. And then January 6th happens, and then it gets pretty bad, his approval rating right at the end when he gets impeached again. But I mean, at this point, Trump's approval rating was better than Biden's, which is crazy. Well, at this point, I can't say it's crazy because it does seem like the media has kind of turned on Biden, or they had no choice. They had to turn on Biden back in the summer because that was the only way to force him out. They had to pressure him out. So it is kind of funny that they're having and now there's like, what is the media going to do about Biden? I don't even think anyone talks about him. And so he's sitting -18. But he'll finish with just one term. Man, it's got to be, the Democrats thought they were going to get Trump a one-term president. Oh man, now it's going to be a 3-term president because Trump's going to change the amendment. Ouch. No, I'm just kidding. But man, they thought they were going to get that one-term president for Trump. Turns out it's going to be Biden. But no, it's because of health, right? That's the only reason. It's a one term for Biden. But either way, guys, it is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.